Russian troops have again attacked enemy targets in Kharkiv. 4 districts of the city came under fire, and one of the hits was at Kharkiv's key Traktorny Zavod. In turn, the Ukrainian units launched ATAK-MS missiles at Luhansk. As a result of the hit, a large fire broke out at the former Stroidetal plant. 3 people were killed and 6 others were wounded. AFU also used missiles of the same type on Belbek military airfield in Crimea. Most of the missiles was shot down, but several reached the target. 3 aircraft were destroyed, another one was damaged. At the same time, the enemy staged the most massive drone raid on the peninsula since the beginning of the war. More than 50 drones were shot down and 20 USVs were destroyed in Sevastopol. The wreckage of one of the UAVs damaged the substation. The city was temporarily de-energized. At the end of the week, the enemy launched a strike on Sevastopol Bay with 12 ATAK-MS missiles. Russian anti-aircraft gunners shot down 9 of the missiles, but the remaining ones hit the pier where one of the ships was located. In Krasnodar region, the main target of the enemy was the port infrastructure of Novorossiysk. Several oil depots and a substation were damaged. In Tuapse, a local refinery was also hit, where a fire was quickly extinguished. In the special military operation zone, Russian troops continued their offensive in several sectors of the front. In North Ukrainian direction, the enemy was still building defensive lines, as well as training personnel at training grounds. In Slobozhanska direction, Russian troops continued their offensive in the north of Kharkiv region. The stormtroopers established control over the northern and eastern outskirts of Vovchansk, liberating the territory of Vovchansk Lyceum No. 1 and Kindergarten No. 6. On the eastern flank, Russian armed forces units liberated the settlement of Buravatka. After a few days of fighting, Staritsya also came under the control of Russian forces. On the western flank, Russian armed forces seized most of Lira 1 Garden Village, reaching the northern outskirts of Liptsi. In this area, the enemy has built a powerful fortified area, which now has to be broken by a Russian stormtroopers. In Kupiansk-Svatov direction, Russian assault groups attacked near Sinkivka and Tabaivka. Ukrainian units also responded with counterattacks, but each of them was successfully suppressed by small arms and artillery fire. Fighting continued in Siversk direction at the area of the ruins of the Popasna water utility building and a filtration station. To the north of Vesele, Russian armed forces units managed to advance in the direction of Rozdolivka, ejecting the enemy from several strongholds. In Bakhmut direction, fighting continued on the eastern outskirts of Chasiv Yar and in the Stupki 𝐔𝐤𝐫𝐚 nature reserve. To the north, Ukrainian units occupied a Russian stronghold on the western outskirts of Bodanivka, and Russian troops counterattacked on the outskirts of Kalinina. In Avdiivka direction, Russian assault groups have gained a foothold in the vicinity of Arkhangelsk and to the west of Ocheretine. South of Umansk, Russian units seized several forest plantations east of Yasnobrodivka. In Donetsk direction, Russian assault groups were able to break through the enemy's defenses in the center of Netailov and reach the western outskirts of the village. To the south of Pervomaiska, the enemy was ejected from positions north of Domok Balka, but the presence of the AFU in Nevelska still persists. To the west of Donetsk, Russian stormtroopers, after seizing the Hunter's house, reached the Central District Hospital in Krasnohorivka. To the south, Russian troops finally mopped the territory near Borisivka Pond. And to the west of Marinka, Russian forces made a breakthrough from the previously liberated central part of Heorhivka and reached the western outskirts. The enemy has retreated in the direction of 𝐒𝐤𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐴, and Russian troops are gaining a foothold on the reached borders. In Vuhledar direction, west of Novomikhailovka, fighting continued on the approaches to Paraskovivka. North of Volodymyrivka, Russian troops ejected AFU from 3 strongholds during the offensive in the direction of Ikrianaya Balka. In Vremivka direction, Russian troops stormed enemy positions in Staromayorske and Urozhain. At the Murn-Dorozhnyanka line, Russian troops expanded the control zone north of Zahirne. In Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian fighters took up several new positions on the northern outskirts of Robotyne. At the moment, no more than 5 houses remain under enemy control in a village completely destroyed by fighting. Local fighting continued in Kherson direction at the island zone north of Kozachi Laheri. Ukrainian command was preparing a combined unit of the 35th Marine Brigade for redeployment to 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜 area. At the same time, on the right bank of the Dnipro River, Russian armed forces caught the unit of enemy UAVs during the arrangement of the position. As a result of a precision strike, over a dozen kamikaze drones were destroyed along with launchers.